between 120 and 140, right in the middle of that stopper. But lined up, we should be able to read it. So I'm going to back off now because it's rising pretty quickly, and I think a setting somewhere between 200, somewhere around 200 to 250 is probably about where I want to be in order to get that block temperature where we'd like it. We're up at about 175, a little below 175. That's pretty close. I'm going to call that good. I'm going to drop that down into the block. It's going to require moving the block a little bit without touching it. Get that centered as much as we can. Those little blocks on there. I got my thermometer in there. Got quite a bit. And just going to use the glass wool try to wrap around trying really hard not to touch the hot plate. So I'm going to make sure that the foil and glass wool doesn't touch the well, because that well is where the purified ester needs to collect. But I'd like to keep everything except that well hot. It's a little bit of a logistical challenge. What I need is a micro spatula. So I can kind of push that foil down. And get it attached to itself around the back without breaking the thermometer. Or burning myself. Yeah, I'm going to call that good. If I try any harder, I'm going to burn myself. So we're going to crank this back up to 250 since the temperature is dropping. It's always a guessing game where you need to set this to get your block to the desired temperature. You'll notice that the temperature is rising inside, which means that we're starting to heat the contents. Crank that all the way up to 300 again and get it back up. Definitely having trouble because I couldn't get the foil to seal around that back thermometer. I think you may be able to see that there's some liquid collecting in the vial, and our internal thermometer here is rising pretty rapidly. It's at 110 and going up. And we're at a temperature of 160 on the outside, so this ester boils low enough that we didn't really need the much higher temperature. Looks like we're at about 110, 115. Unfortunately, that blue is right in the middle of the joint where it's hard to see it. And I think maybe it's even up around 120. I told you it would be right in the middle of the stopper. One of Murphy's little laws. But it looks like that well's pretty full. The temperature is just over 120 in there. And we're back up at 170, so I'm going to back off a little here. And now I need to take that out of there. Leave this uncapped for as little time as possible. And try really hard not to break the pipette off in the Hickman still, which is a popular move. I'll fill that up. Get my cap back on so more can collect. Nice clear colorless liquid coming off. We're very close to 120. We're back up to 180 here, so I'm backing this back off to between 200 and 250. Don't want to heat it too hot. When it's done distilling, the temperature in here will drop again. And obviously we'll stop collecting material. Looks like we've got another good amount in that well. Temperature's dropped a little bit. It always fluctuates. Not the most accurate measurement. We're up at almost 185 there, so back this off a little bit more. The yield's not going to be very good here because some of the ester did fall on the floor when the centrifuge tube jumped out of that box. But we'll have plenty to work with. Some more liquid. Notice the thermometer inside has dropped down almost to 100, even though our block is still at 185. So that's likely an indication that we've distilled all the ester we're going to get, and the rest of it is going to be residue. And it's dropped down to 100. Almost certainly means the distillation is over. Take that foil and glass full away. And let's have a look in there and see. What we'll probably see is there's not much left. Take this thermometer out so I don't break it. I'll lift that up and have a look. Yeah, looks like it's virtually empty. So that's done. You let those blocks cool off by throwing them in the sink. Running some water on them. Put our thermometer away. And I'm going to really be careful to make sure the core doesn't come into contact with that hot surface, since that hot surface is ridiculously hot. Put that away and hope no one comes in and sticks their hand on it. So let those cool down. And put this guy back. Take this thermometer out. See if there's any more liquid in that still. I might be able to tilt it now, or I couldn't when it was in the flask. Tilt it towards me and see if I can get any more. Looks like just a little bit, not much. Still plenty for IR and NMR. And we don't care about yield anyway, right? There's a little bit of ester collected on there that I'm just going to not be able to retrieve. But not enough to really worry about. That's dirty. It needs to go in the dirty glassware land. This is clean. It was just being used to move hot blocks around. Turn off the water. That's probably still hot. I'm not going to touch it. Let's go weigh this. Clear colorless liquid. If you assume this is a 4 milliliter vial, it looks like we've got around about a milliliter. Once that mass stabilizes, looks like it's fluctuating a lot. But if I bang on the bench, you can see that it does. 6.968 grams. 6.967 grams, I guess. It moved. So we got 6.967 grams with the ester in the vial. We're going to store that in the freezer, but I'm going to take an IR of it while it's still out, and I'll start a new video for that.